One of these days I'm going to do this and no one's going to show up and I'm going to feel all alone. I'll cry. I will actually probably cry. Uh,
I don't have you live. Do you see any chat?
Not yet, but it's only 15 seconds. It usually takes a while. And
Okay.
it takes this long.
Okay, I'm getting the ad up right now. Four, three, two, one.
There it is. I got my first chat. Yep, I got a live chat.
Okay, you're live.
Yep. Yeah, it's just slow. So yeah, it's about 15 seconds here from when I hit live until you actually get it. So that's a nerve-wracking 15 seconds for anybody going live. You don't know. What have you messed up? Only a few things you can mess up, but if it's possible to mess them up, I can and do. So hi everyone. I'm glad you're back. Today we're going to have the big. Oh, I'm not. I didn't plug in my lav mic. I'm going to plug in my lav mic because it's been windy on and off. Right now you're hearing me through the through the from the phone, and I'm going to plug in the lav because with the wind, I think that should help. Let me know if that doesn't work. Please let me know the sound isn't good. I am back still in Oregon. Oops. I don't know why that works that way. So I'm in Oregon now. I can do that, can I? Yep. And I'm just outside of Sisters. I'll be here for a few days. Then, like I said, I'm going to go to, there's a big tiny house festival up in Salem this weekend. And on the 18th, I am speaking. It's kind of windy, so I got a hat on just to keep my hair from blowing around. I'll keep it out. I'm not going to stay out in the sun. I just burn. I'll burn to a crisp, and I'll get too hot. So I'm not going to stay out in the sun very long. But I'll let you walk. I'll walk around and let you see where I am. I think you might. Hopefully you enjoy that. I'm here with a friend. My friend was going to be on with me, but the wind comes up and then goes down, and I'm not set up for two lavs, two lapel mics, and I know the wind would be just unbearable. There's my friend. He's in a van, camped over here with me. And you can't see it because it's way too small, but I'm looking right at the Three Sisters. That's why we come here, because we get great sun. The van's in the sun all day. And then there's plenty of shade because we're in the forest. And this open field is really fantastic to get sun. So I really like it here. I don't know why it does that. It seems like it does it once every time. I know I have a great connection. I have a really good connection here. And I don't know why it does it. This is like the third time we've done a live from this location, and it's done that every single time, and I have no idea why. But it does it, and I just reconnect. And I've been, that's great. Just as long as I can reconnect, it's fine. So, so I'm going to go up to this tiny house festival on Sunday, and I'm speaking. I believe it's at 10 o'clock. Casey, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost certain I'm speaking at 10 o'clock on Sunday. And my topic is going to be why we live tiny. Why we live tiny. I hear you. Casey, I hear you. I'm away from the... We have a lot of technology here. I have my iPad open, and Casey is connected to me by the iPad, and she's far away from here. And I also have my laptop open to get your questions. So the questions are about dating. Write me about dating. I think I've wandered around enough here. Get out of the sun before I burn up. I got to take you off of the gimbal and put you on the tripod. Oh, she corrected me. She said I'm on at 11 o'clock on Sunday. And so if you're in the Salem area and you want to come and see me, I'll be there. It does cost. KC, you know how to get to the website? I think it's Tiny Fest Northwest. Oh, it's in the announcements. When I read through the announcements, I'll find it. So, in just a minute, I'll read through the announcements and I'll give you the location for it. Okay, so I'm going to put you on the tripod. Gonna get seated in the shade so I don't die. I feel like I would definitely die. That isn't right. You're doing it wrong. You did it wrong. Dipstick. Okay. That should fix it. Okay. Okay, you come back. Tighten that a bit. Tighten that a bit. Okay, KC is telling me that it's tinyfestnorthwest.com. How about that? tinyfestnorthwest.com. You can get the details, the entrance fees, and all that good stuff there. Let's do that down a bit. How's that? That ain't so bad, is it? It's a little bright behind me, but that's life, isn't it? I'm in the forest. I mean, this is real world. You know, I'm not some guy who lives in his house and complains about nomads and teaches you about nomads, but's never lived a nomad. This is my life. This is my only life. This is the only life I want. This is the real deal. And being out here means being in the sun and being in the shade and being in when it's too windy, and sometimes there's too many bugs, and life is not always perfect out here, but it's always wonderful. A bad day out here is better than my best day that I had before I lived out here. That is just an absolute fact. My worst day out here, and I've had some bad ones, has been better because I was alive. I felt alive. I felt cold. I felt hot. I was scratching from mosquitoes. I was alive. Every fiber of my being screams, you're alive. You're living. This isn't a living death. This isn't a life you're enduring because you just don't know what else to do with it. I'm alive, and I feel alive, and I'm so grateful that one day I was forced into living in a van. The best thing that ever happened to me. Well, among the best, at least. Okay, so I better get on the announcements. All right, how's that? Pretty good? I'm about centered there. Okay, on to announcements. You're pretty quick. I better get a drink of Diet Pepsi. Okay, my laptop went to sleep. I found a little secret about laptops. If you ever wonder about laptops, I have powerful laptops because I do editing, and I have a gaming laptop that draws 250 watts. That's 20 amps at 12 volt. That's enormous, and it is so fast. But I don't. I think it's 15 inches, but it sure feels like it's 17. And so I rarely use it because it's enormous. And I found this little cute little thing. This is a Microsoft Surface Go, full Windows 10, just like any other Windows 10 program. I bought the separate keyboard, and I'm running full Windows 10. It has LTE built in, so I have unlimited pad. All pads come with unlimited, and this is just a pad. Well, I'll take off the keyboard and I'll show you. As soon as I say that, I can't figure out how to do it. So it's just a pad. And here's the Microsoft keyboard. It's part of the Microsoft Surface family. And so I have unlimited on my Windows 10 laptop. I'm just delighted with it. I really am. And then I can pop the keyboard back on. It just pops right back on. And now I'm away. Announcements. Okay, here's the announcements. First, I like to read a letter I get so that you know this is for real. And there are real people out there that really need the help we're giving them. These are people who are living their lives now and have found a solution through, nomadic living. And I'll try to do everything I can to change everything so you don't even know male, female, or anything at all. A sad story. That's what we're calling them. We have to have an abbreviation, so we called them sad stories. Thank you, Bob. I feel hope for my future because of your videos. All of my life, I have been trapped by circumstances. First abusive parents, then abusive spouse, then children that depended on me, one with autism. Boy, that would be people with autism, and parents with autism are saints. Now I'm living alone in a tiny apartment that has subsidized rent, and I still can't afford my bills. Can you imagine that? You're in and those subsidized rent apartments usually aren't very great, not in very great places, and you still can't afford to live. I thought I would just die here, and honestly felt like it couldn't come soon enough. And boy, have I felt that way myself. Now I can't wait for my lease runs out so I can get out of here and head west. Thank you for the hope I haven't felt maybe ever. And I just so relate to the feeling of hopelessness out there when I went through my divorce. My whole life, my first 40 years of my life were basically just hopeless. Trapped in a job I hated. I was going to be doing it for the next 40 years. And I did that all my life. I worked that job for 35 years, so I was able to retire with a pretty decent little pension. Retired real early, or I would have had a really good pension. But man, my life was unhappy and hopeless and despair and monotony and drudgery. That was my life. And everything I do in this channel is to get you out of that. The soul-sucking drudgery and misery of life on the hamster wheel. Or that's what it was for me. If it's not for you, I'm very happy for you, but I think for the majority of people who are listening to this video, that's what it was for you. You're in agreement. Okay, so announcements. First, we have a matching fund set up at fundly.com. This is for the minivan builds. We're going to continue minivan builds. We'll build them, give them away. That's coming up. I'll tell you about that. We're going to give away, coming up a week or two, the first minivan build that we did. It's so fantastic. We did such a great job on that. We didn't. The people who did the build, I was just there. They did the build and they just did a fantastic job. Really good. So we're going to be building another minivan to give away in October. And so if you would like to contribute, you go to Fundly, that's fundly.com/minivan-build-match. And we have a donor that will match dollar for dollar every dollar you give. So if you give $5, that'll be wonderful. This donor will match $5. If we get a total of $3,000, this donor will put in the other $3,000. And so that's 2 minivans. The last minivan we bought cost us $2,600, and we put $400 in new tires on it. We put a few other little things. We had to replace all the shocks and the struts. They were all just shot. It's pretty typical of older minivans. A few little things we put on it. It was around $3,000 by the time we were all said and done. So for $3,000, somebody was going to get a brand new, we've chosen that person, is going to get a brand new home they're going to own and live in. And that's thanks to all the donors. This money doesn't grow on trees. The donors contribute it. And so that's coming right up. So please contribute to the fundly.com/minivan-build-match. And we'll have a match for every penny you give. Maybe if you guys will contribute $3,000, the donor will contribute $3,000. That's 2 minivans. We can build out 2 minivans with this one drive and make a huge blessing to someone. Okay, we have 2 new applications for assistance available at homesonwheelsalliance.org/programs. That's homesonwheelsalliance.org/programs. The first one is for a minivan home on wheels. So this time we would like to have chosen the person to get the minivan. You come to the build and we ask you and talk to you, will this bed be long enough? Will this bed be tall enough for you to sit in? We'll build the minivan around you, very specifically around you. So you need to be there. So you need to apply today so that we can choose you and give you time to come to the minivan build in October. You'll be there and we'll build the minivan together. And we're looking for people, volunteers now. We don't want to overstay our welcome with volunteers. We want to have new volunteers at every minivan build, or if you want to just keep coming back, that's fine too. But we want to give everyone a chance, and we don't want to overwork a few. We want those 2 things. So if you are willing to specifically have solar knowledge, carpentry knowledge, mechanic, if you can tear the thing apart and say, okay, it needs this, we definitely need new shocks. All these brakes look great, and the brakes on the last minivan were all perfect. Didn't even need to begin to do anything yet. Other than shocks, it was in really good shape. Shocks and tires. Pretty typical. But maybe you need new brakes. You can go in and tear down the brakes and put in new ones for us. And before we can give away the minivan, we have to have it checked out by an ASE certified approved mechanic. And we'll do that, just for legalities and liability insurance sakes. But we'll do all that. And so that first one, that's up there now. Go apply, homesonwheelsalliance.org/programs. And if you want to apply for the next minivan. Number 2, for the solar panel kits in Quartzsite. Starting on November 4th, we are going to be giving away entire 245 watt solar kits. Be an entire kit, ready to go, ready to install. And we are not going to be installing them at that time. We'll be giving them away. If you know someplace you can go in November and get your kits installed, then come and get them. We'll be handing them out. But you do have to apply. You have to put in an application, and because although we have 45 or 40, I forget which we have. I get it mixed up with the number 245 in the solar, but it's either 40 or 45 panels, and we're going to give them all away. And they're big panels, so you're going to have a lot of room on your roof. And one of the things we have to know in this application is, will you have room on your roof? We're not going to give you a kit and then you can't put it on your roof. We wasted both of our times. We don't want to do that to you. We don't want that to happen to us. So go to homesonwheelsalliance.org/programs, and you can apply for the kit, the new complete solar kit system. Also, as we've been talking about, we have a wonderful, generous donor donated $10,000, and $9,000 of that is now in an emergency fund for nomads. We've had 19 applicants so far. We are about to finalize one of them. He had bad tires. Bad tire. I'll just read. This is basically his letter. Bad tires. Steel belts are coming through. Tires have dry rot. Here's a brief recap of emergency situation. I'm 68, a full-time nomad for 6 years. Like a lot of us, you get into your 60s, the only way you can live is on wheels. 3 weeks ago, I spent my emergency fund savings of $1,000 on getting my van fixed. That's a problem. Even if you have an emergency fund, you spend it on one emergency, another emergency pops up, and then you're stuck. We understand that. That can happen to anyone. I was down for 2 weeks. Attached is the labor bill, so he has proof that he just spent $1,000 to get his van running. Then I had a medical emergency last week. The operation I had, and he gives into details, and I'm not going to go into those. That afternoon I was back in surgery. He had to have surgery. I'm doing well now. Therefore, I'm requesting financial assistance to replace my tires. So his home is incapacitated without tires. They've got belts sticking through, and I've seen that many times. And so what we're going to do is we're going to find a local tire store. He'll go in and get everything all set up, and we'll pay. We'll pay the tire store, and he'll walk out with brand new tires and won't spend a penny. And when you donate to the program, that we're treating your money right. We're not just throwing it around to anybody, Tom, Dick, and Harry. We need to know that it's an emergency. We're also working out who should get the money and who shouldn't. There are a million people out there, millions, there aren't a million. There are probably 20 million people in the United States today that have some kind of an emergency and need help. Well, we can't help 20 million people. We have to narrow that down. We have to say, this is the general scope. These are the specific details. Well, the general scope is, and we've kind of worked it out. One is that it has to be a genuine emergency. It can't be a big inconvenience. We're sorry you're going through a big inconvenience. We've all had that. So you've run out of gas money for the month, and it's another week till you get your next check and you can buy gas again. Well, that's a very big inconvenience, but it's not an emergency yet. We're probably not going to give you money for that. Or if your van just shot and you needed a whole brand new van, and we've gotten several letters like that. That's a minivan giveaway, and that's a whole different ball game than just meeting emergencies. And also, we've had a number of people. I've had a lot of people personally write me, and they're not nomads. And again, they're all worthy. I bet there are 20 million, 30, 50, 100 million real genuine needs in America today, and they can't meet them. but I can't fill them all, and I can't ask you to fill them all. So we have to limit our scope, and we aren't helping people that aren't nomads. And I'm sorry, we just aren't. And I get a lot of contacts from a lot of other people who are working with other needy groups, wanting me to help them, other causes. I get a lot of people with causes that want me to join up with them. I can't deal with all the causes of the world. I believe I have been called to carry a message of good news of nomadic living and help build a tribe, build a community, and to help everyone I can along the way. And that doesn't include every other cause in America, however worthy the cause is, and they're all worthy. And I'm not a bad person because I can't take up every cause. I have been called to do one thing. I am doing it to the best of my ability. If you've been called to another cause, do it to the best of your ability, but do not blame me because I have not been called. And I get that. I do. That people write me and say, well, but this is so worthy. How can you turn it down? What's the matter with you? Well, I can't do everything. I don't try to do everything. I'll be a dead man if I try to do everything. Like someone wrote in and they borrowed the vehicle. The person had loaned it to them, so we said, okay, we're not gonna. If this isn't your vehicle, you can't prove to us it's your vehicle, then we need a letter from this person say that you have their permission to use the vehicle, and you have we have your permission to pay the money to fix it. These are kind of liability things we have to take care of. It's a litigious world. People are wanting to sue over any little thing, and we have to be careful. We have to be. It's just the way the world works now. We have to put on stupid warning signs that we all mock. Well, we kind of have to do that too, in a different way. So we couldn't help this person because they couldn't come up with a letter from the owner of the vehicle. I'm sorry. So we did take care of 3 people. We're taking care now in the process of the tires. One person needed new house batteries. Another person had just written in saying, hey, I have an extra set of house batteries. They're only 2 years old. They're in great shape. We put those 2 people together. This person, they helped each other. That's the goal here, as much as possible, to put you together. We had someone else, I'm probably not supposed to say this, but I think I can. Someone else was working for Uber, and their car broke down, and they just had to replace it. And at the same time, in the same city, someone else wrote in and wanted to donate a Prius. Well, we're a little reluctant to give Priuses to people because Joanna lives in a Prius. I mean, we don't have anything against Prius. We think they're great to live in, but we're kind of reluctant to do it. But we put these 2 people together. This guy had the joy of helping this person so much. Now, this person had a way to continue making money and living on the road in a Prius. So a lot of what we want to do is put people together and you take care of each other. So we're hoping to do much, much more of that. And we're hoping to set up programs to make that happen. We're just not quite there yet. Okay, I think I might be done here. Am I done, Casey?
Yes, you're done.
Okay, is that on another email?
Yeah, it's just if you need any of those details.
Okay, yeah, I'm not going to give any more details. Okay, boy, that took 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Okay. Oh, it's on my email. Okay. Yeah, of course. All right, so we'll start answering questions. Someone wrote in somewhere else and said, this is something Bob should be doing as a panel, because I don't know anything about dating. Everything I'm going to tell you is how to do it wrong. I can tell you everything about how to date wrong, but I can't really tell you how to do much right. And that's of some value. I'm no dating expert. And this thread, it was on somewhere else, and they said, well, there should be a older woman and a younger woman and another younger guy and some middle-aged people and a whole bunch of people with a lot of different perspectives. And that is really a good idea. I wish I'd done that. The problem is I'm a nomad. I live alone in a van in the middle of nowhere. Look around here and there's only one other vehicle. Not only that, but today we got wind. We got a pretty good breeze blowing right now, but you're okay because there's one lav. The lav is this microphone under there. I don't think you can see it, but see, my beard kind of covers it, and it's got a furry on it, and it kind of really blocks the wind. But if we had 5 people, we'd have to mic 5 people. We've got the wind noise. We'd have to move the camera around, and they don't have to be physically present. That just isn't going to happen. I'm not going to get together 5 people every Wednesday for a panel discussion. We're working really hard. on putting together an ability to hold lives remotely. So 5 of us could be in 5 different locations and we'll still be live on YouTube exactly like we are now. We think we know exactly how to do it. We've paid for the service. Now we just have to figure it all out and work through all the bugs. And then we'll be doing live panels. And that is my goal. It's always better if there can be 2 of us and I can interview someone. That one's infinitely better. But if we could have a panel of 4 or 5 on the topic of dating, that would be fantastic. So we will do that, but we're not quite there yet. Okay, what am I doing? I'm going to, okay. I lost my place. I got to open up mail again. Okay, I'm doing it quick. Boy, and I'm sorry I've spent half my time almost and haven't answered a question, although I'm really going to be embarrassed. I've been on the road for 11 years, and I have dated 3 times. I've had 3 kind of steady dating relationships. They haven't particularly ended well for various reasons. I'm still friends with all of them. But they weren't, they didn't really work for me and they didn't really work for the person. I ended one other person ended one, and one just never really caught. We both really liked each other, but we danced the dance and it just never worked. And we said, hey, this isn't really working. So we'll just we'll be friends. We're great friends. Let's just stay that. And so that was great. And I think of her as one of my best friends. Okay. So I'm going to start reading the questions. Anonymous, do you think it is better to live in 1 van or 2 vans when dating or in a relationship, and why? My best advice is don't sell the rig. If you have 2 rigs and you want to try one, then I hope that wind isn't too much. I got a real strong wind now. And if you really want to try being in 1 instead of 2, you put 1 in storage. You can get outside storage for a van for about $40. $40 a month, and I would definitely do that. I would not sell it until you know, and then find out. First, 2 people in a van is hard, but on a new relationship, it's really hard. And so that would be my advice, not to sell the rig. Put 1 in storage if you have to, and that'll shake out the relationship. You'll know a whole lot more if it'll really work. If 2 of you can live together in a van, that's a pretty good sign that will work out. So, but yeah. Or if you have 1 RV, then and 1 person's in an RV, 1 person's in the van. I knew a guy, a YouTuber. I didn't really know him, but I just knew him through YouTube, and that happened. He found someone who lived in an RV, and they lived and traveled, and he put his van in storage, and they lived and traveled together for like a year in their RV, and then they parked it, put it in storage, and then they lived and traveled together in his van. And so that would be something I'd recommend. And they compared them, they got to know each other. They didn't make any major decisions till they really knew it was going to work. And that would be my big advice to you, to everyone out there. Don't make any big major decisions until you know it's going to work. Ethan, good morning. I'm a single guy and like to date more, but not sure where all the single nomads are. That's a good question. I wish I knew too. Well, here is the way nomadism works. In the summer, we scatter across the country. We all have a beautiful place we want to go. A bunch of us are working. A bunch of us are still young and have to work, or a bunch of us are old and still have to work. So a whole bunch of us go off to jobs across the country, and we just like going different places. So we all go to a different place. A few, and then in the winter, and we'll just talk in really broad strokes. And so here's summer all over the country, and then in the winter we all converge, usually in the desert Southwest or in Florida, whichever coast you're on. And I only know about the desert Southwest because that's where I am, and there's so much camping in the desert Southwest. Throw a rock and you found a great campsite. And so that's where you're most likely to find someone. We go to basically the same places. We all go to Ehrenberg. We all go to Quartzsite. There are like 3 or 4 really well-known places around Quartzsite. You go there, you'll find a lot of there'll be mainly singles at those places. RVers tend to be couples. Van dwellers tend to be singles. And so if you're an RVer single, then you really are going to want to look for other I don't know where you're going to look, because most RVers are couples, but not all. There are lots of exceptions, of course. There are a number of groups. There's the WINS, Wandering Individual Networks. They're a great organization. I think they're avowed not to be a dating site. They don't want you to be a dating site, but it happens. It just inevitably happens. And they travel and do a lot together. The WINS are a fantastic. So if you do a Google search on WINS, Wandering Individual Networks, you'll find them. Their website is a different name. Someone write in and tell me what their website name is. It's different. It's RV Singles, maybe. It's not just WINS, so maybe that wasn't available. They're a great organization. There's also Loners on Wheels. That's a great organization. Escapees have Birds of Feather, and I think the Escapees is great. If you're an RVer and you're looking to meet people, I would definitely say join Lowe's, WINS, and Escapees. That's going to put you together with probably the maximum amount of other RVers. And I think they have singles groups on all those. And I'm not an escapee, so I don't know. But they're a great organization. I have nothing against the Escapees at all. I think they're fantastic. I don't get enough value for. I don't live in a van. I don't live in an RV. And I find a lot of RVers kind of tend to look down on van dwellers. Not all. This broad overgeneralization, but yeah, there's a little bit of truth to it. And so I tend not to be with the Escapees very much. And then there's the new one, the young working escapers. That's something for you to think about. So organizations, singles, RVing organizations, but we all come together in the desert. That's where you're most likely to find someone. Be in the desert, be where we all go. Join one of my caravans. So the caravans were all large. I think we had about, I think at the second time last year in the desert, we had 4 caravans going, and they were averaging 30, 40, 50 people each. So that's a lot of RVers. And you could go to different ones and see if you didn't find, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. We're not opposed to that. If you're looking for someone to date, if you're looking for someone, that's nothing to be embarrassed about. That's kind of human nature. And we're not opposed to that in any way. And so if you go there and maybe you'll find someone. I don't know. A lot of singles. I know you will find a lot of singles. I wish I had a millennial here, because they're a different group and they travel in different circles. And I really don't know enough about them to give that advice. And I'm sorry. And if I had a single older woman, a single younger woman, you'd get much better, different advice than I'm able to give you. I'm sorry. I should have thought ahead. When we get this put together with the live, we'll redo this and I'll find a bunch of people that are willing to do it. In fact, write in today, and a few moderators will pay attention. If you're interested in being on a panel on dating, let us know in the comments when you write in with your chats, and we'll put together a list of people. And when we're ready to do a panel from all around the country and on a live feed on YouTube, we'll contact you. I'd like to do that. It's good. Jennifer, dating, I don't know where to begin. I don't either. I think the more meetups, the better for people to know each other. I think the caravans are a big thing. Or the RTR is a big thing. You know, if there are 9,000, 10,000 other RVers there, most of us are single. The vast majority of us at the RTR are single. You're going to have a much more likelihood. That's so I didn't finish my sentence. What happens is in the winter, we gather together in small groups, big groups, 30, 50, 100. There's always a group that goes to the slabs, and they're together, so they're safe. You're safe if you go to the group with a group to the slabs. You're going to be safe. And you meet a whole bunch of other people. The more people you meet, the more likely you're to run into someone. Oh, you must have crashed. Are you there, Casey? Oh, I hurt my shoulder. Why aren't you connecting? Oh, are you there? We got such a bad connection, we're not making it. Sorry about this. Casey, I don't think we're going to keep the connection. Let me see if I can change it. Boy, I'm not getting very far. I really feel like I'm not. Okay, I'm going to close this and see if I can change the connection. Wi-Fi. Okay. So Casey, if you're listening, I put you. You were on AT&T. I have an AT&T iPad, and apparently lost connection, and I'm putting her on Verizon. I have a Verizon.
Good.
You got a good one now?
Yep, we're good.
Now where are you? Okay, so you're there? Are we talk? I don't see you.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know how this keeps happening. I'm calling you back. Just answer. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're good together. Casey's in. Can I tell you where they are? People, where you are?
Yeah, we're good.
Can I tell them where you are? You don't mind?
So, generally.
She's generally somewhere out west. How's that? She's in Colorado. She's somewhere cool in a country that's burning up to point. I think the more meetups, the better for people to get to know each other. That's really it. The meetups. I'd love to do a summer RTR. I'd love to do multiple summer RTRs. I'd love to do them across the country. I'd like to do a summer RTR and a winter RTR, 8 total, in every corner of the country. I would do that in a heartbeat if I could. Finding place, it needs to be free. It needs to hold a bunch of people. It needs to have decent internet. We can't be hassled. It can't be working with the BLM and the National Forest is just becoming a nightmare. And so I just don't know how to do and meet all the needs. It has to be free. I can't charge. A few of you could pay and be glad to pay. I'm going to another big van meeting that's called Descend on Bend. It's here in Oregon. It's coming up in about 2 weeks. And it's $100 for 5 days. Well, what if I charged $100 for 5 days? And that's what I'd have to charge if we rented a place and eliminated all these hassles. Well, how many of you could come if it's $100 for 5 days? So I just don't know how to do it. But I'd love to have meetups constantly. The closest I can get is the Caravans. It's free. It's on public land. There's some place you can go and meet someone. That's the best I can have been able to figure out to do right now. But it's still excellent. And in the winter, they're big, 30, 40, 50 people. And that's a lot of people. And you can go to visit all of them, except the women's group. Men can't go to the women's group. And maybe I'll meet that person. I hope so. I've been on the face group for single RVers and come across a lot of guys my dad's age that send me messages, and they lie about their age. We all lie, don't we? Do you know if nomad guys lie about their ages too? Of course. We're a cross section of the population. Some of us are going to lie about our age. I'm not one who does. I tell you, my dating strategies tell you every reason why you want to run away from me. And if you're still there, then maybe we got a chance. I don't want you to find out hard all the reasons you should run away. So my dating relation idea is just the opposite. I'm going to tell you right up front, these are all the reasons you should run away. The sight of me should just make you puke and run away. And it makes a lot of women puke and run away anyway. They don't need me to tell them. But yeah, so I don't do that. Build myself up. What's the point? You're all going to find out the hard way. And she goes on to say, do you know are they looking for a relationship or just in it for the C, replace the C with an N? Well, let's see. If I replace cookie with N, that becomes nookie. Oh, I actually said the word. Nookie. Yeah, there are a lot of guys out there looking for nookie. There's no doubt about it. There's another thing they messaged me about off of Facebook that gets them blocked. Right, yeah, that's all you can do is just block them. They're jerks. Every population of men has jerks. I think there are many less jerks among nomads, van dwellers, than other groups. I honestly do, but I'm prejudiced, so who knows? We're probably just a normal cross-section of the population. There's a certain number of jerks, a certain number of really great people. I think my experience has been overwhelmingly, and I think if I could take a poll, there are many more really great nomads than there are jerk nomads, but there are some. I really want to know if the dudes are okay with taking time to know someone before the physical stuff. Some are, some aren't. I think the majority are. I think the majority are actually looking for a relationship out here by this time in their lives. But of course not all. And you have to figure out which one is which. And that's not easy. Okay, I better keep moving. What's a good pickup line? Trust me, I live in a van and poop in the woods is not working at all. You got to be kidding. I'd fall for that. Trust me, I live in a van and poop in the woods. Well, if you meet another woman van dweller, single female van dweller, I just think the attitude, it's your attitude. We have an attitude of how we want to live, the freedom that we want to live with. And I think that if they don't just see that attitude in you and it appeals to them and it's what they want, then nothing else matters. It's not going to work no matter what. That attitude of, I want to be free, I want to be in nature, I'd like to share it with you. Are you interested? Can we make this work? I think just honesty, just out front, no playing games. I'm interested. I think games are the death of relationships. Are there any single people age 50 and over? Mostly. Most van dwellers are single people in my circles, in my community. Most of us in my community are single people age 50 and over, by far the majority. Yeah, no question. Among RVers, traditional RVers, I think that's not true. It's mostly married couples, 50 and over. Okay, Casey, I assume there's another one. Card number 2. Terry Novak. It may be cool to have a separate section for singles at RTR. Well, we are trying to do singles nights, singles get-togethers, and we'll at the RTR. This is, you want it done, you do it. Don't come to me and say, Bob, I want this done, so you do it, because that's not going to happen. I'm doing plenty. We're doing everything we possibly can. But if you want to do it and you're willing to make it happen, you can do anything you want. We're completely open within reason. So if you want to have singles night every night of the RTR, we'll announce it. We'll give you the location. You tell us, I'm going to host a singles night every night of the RTR. And it'll be in different locations, and we're going to play different games. And these are the 10 different games we're going to play. Or we're going to meet together, and then we're all going to decide we're all going to go out somewhere for pizza, which would be Silly Al's in Quartzsite. Or if it's a Quartzsite, I don't know if it'll be in Quartzsite or not. I don't know where it will be. Well, let me just say, we're working hard in the RTR. There will be an RTR, but I do not know where or when it will be. So, folks, don't write me and ask me where and when it will be, because I don't know yet. As soon as I know, you will know. There will be one. That's an absolute. Well, we're covering all our bases, but we're dealing with government agencies, and nailing them down is just pouring water. It's just like herding cats. This is herding cats. No, I don't think we're going to do a separate singles. I think the majority are singles. I think it wouldn't be possible. But if you're willing to host a singles night, pick a day, and if 10 of you are willing to host a singles night and pick the day, and we'll work with you as a group to have a singles night, singles gathering every single day of the RTR. I would love that. Then you guys can do anything you want. I think I'm all in favor. Don't ask me to do it, because I'm not going to. Don't ask one of the volunteers to do it, because they're all too busy. Don't ask the coordinator to do it, because she's too busy. You have to do it. If you're willing to do it, it'll happen. I think that's a fantastic idea. And then you'll get to know each other. And by going, you're kind of saying, yeah, I'm looking. We're all a lot of singles there, but if you're going to one of these gatherings, you're probably saying, yeah, I'm looking. No Fear to Trek. Good name. Dating or hookups? Please define which one you're talking about. And you have to decide that. I can't define that for you. You define it. Why do I have to define your life? I'm not here to define your life in any way, shape, or form. I'm here to present you options and tell you what I see as the pluses and the minuses. I don't do hookups. So I'm not talking to you about hookups. That has never appealed to me. I want a relationship. I don't want just a hookup. But if you want to do a hookup, that's fine with me. I don't care. Just be honest. Where we're talking about every kind of relationship is an honest relationship. The lying crap, the game playing crap, that's bad. I'm completely opposed to that. You go and deceive people. Deception's wrong. If you have to live your life so that the only way you can live your life the way you want it is to deceive people, you need to make serious changes in your life. You need to look at your heart and say, what's wrong that I can't live my life as an honest, open book? My life's an open book. KC is Have I lost you again? Oh.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. I've just lost video. Uh, Casey, she gets into my email, and so one day we're talking on FaceTime on iPads, and I'm writing to someone, and she says, "You're writing to that person," and I'm aware that my life is so much an open book that as I'm typing an email, Casey can see it. I live my life as an open book, and I'd be ashamed to live it any other way. There's nothing I'm doing that I want to hide. You're only as sick as your secrets. And if you have to keep secrets to be able to date, if you can't just come out and say, man, I'm not really interested in a relationship, but I'd love to spend some time and do a hookup with you. If you can't say that, then there's something wrong. If you have to keep secrets, you're something wrong. You need to get that squared away. Rojo Zosa says a date with Bob would be a good fundraiser. Why, thank you, Rosa. I really, really appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say. It's actually not a bad idea. I think, again, let me tell you all the reasons why you should run away puking at the very thought of a date or a relationship with Bob. My life is my work. I work. Casey, how many hours of work do we work a week? Do you work 80 hours a week?
Yeah, at least.
KC works 80 hours a week. She works harder than I do. That's not enough. You need to be working more. I work nonstop. My life is work. Sue Ann works 120. Yeah, she probably works as much as Casey and I put together. And Phyllis works a tremendous amount too. I know she does. But I work all the time. My work comes first. It's a priority. You'd be a distant second. But my life is an open book. I'd be glad to date you and everything. You can know anything about me you want to know. I'll be as transparent as I can humanly be. But man, I'm not a prospect. Love is a weird thing. One of the things I have decided about my life is, I don't know what love is. You know, we have this romantic idea of love. I don't even say love. I don't use the word love. I was in a group meeting, we were talking about something, and I never used the word love. And it upset somebody. And he went on to say, you know, we all have to say love. It's so important that we say love. I never once used the word love. I hate the word love. It's so overused and so misused. And I will talk to you about compassion and empathy. I'll talk to you about kindness. Love is a verb. Don't talk to me about a noun. Talk to me about a verb. Talk to me about your actions. And so I don't know that I know how to love in a romantic sense. I've really much decided that. So I'm not a good partner. I will act loving and kind as much as I can be, as unselfishly as I can be. But I kind of come to the conclusion from all my failed relationships that as unselfish as I think I am, maybe in a relationship I'm very selfish, and I just can't see it. It's a baffling. Relationships are a baffling thing to me. So, yeah, we might make a lot of money with me as a date with me as a fundraiser, but I think you might end up puking at the end of the night. Terry C, what would a proper date out there boondocking look like? A little table outside the van with candlelight and stuff. Yeah, that would be a good date. A hike for me. It's always a hike. Or one lady, I wanted to let her know I was interested. I said, hey, I'm going into town tomorrow and do some shopping, get some water, and dump my trash. Do you want to go? And that was the date. So we stopped at a fast food restaurant and went to Safeway and shopped and found a dumpster and dumped our trash and went somewhere else and got water. And that was our date. But you know, that was kind of a date. That's kind of a nomad life, isn't it? Doesn't that define the nomad life? And it was a little tiny town. We were a little tiny town of 5,000 people at the most. And that's about all there was. The nearest town with there were a lot of nice restaurants. It was a tourist town. And I think we ended up going for dates. We went to nice restaurants, and we went for a walk every night. That was mainly our dating. We would go out and watch the stars. And we'd just go out at night and sit in our chairs and talk and watch the stars. Yeah, that's what it looks like for boondockers. It looks pretty different. Merritt, question regarding dating as a full-time nomad. How does one connect to a community where we can meet others other than big festival type events? The Caravans right now is my only answer. Go to the desert Southwest in the winter. And there are a few places where we all go and hang around. And we tend to, that's the great thing about the Caravans. The understanding is the Caravans, you're there because you want to be social. And if you're way off on the outside of the group and no one ever sees you, they'll just leave you alone. They know that's what you're looking for. But if you're kind of closer in and you come out and you come over and meet, and they almost always build fires at the Caravans, and they come over and, you know, they have an evening fire and they make plans. Some of the Caravans were really active. They planned hikes. It wasn't an organized event. They just have a campfire and they say, hey, there's a really good trail over here. Why don't we go for a hike tomorrow? And maybe 10, 15 people would go for a hike the next day. The Caravans are my solution to this problem. And I think they work. I hope you're hearing this. KC, is the sound still good?
Yeah, we're still good.
Good. Yeah, these live mics really work. And so I think the Caravans are my answer at this moment. They peter out in the summer because we scatter to the wind across the country. We go to jobs, we go to pretty places we want to go. Some people just go to one place and spend their summer there, or maybe they just travel all over the West or all over the East, or they go back and visit family. That happens a lot in the summer. It's family visiting time. So in the summer, it doesn't work well. You can't hardly find people in one spot. But in the winter, we'll all be in the desert Southwest. We'll be around Yuma. We'll be around Quartzsite. We'll be up in Anza Borrego. We'll be around the Slabs. We'll be around Ehrenberg. There'll be a lot of us around Parker, a lot of us around Lake Havasu. Lake Havasu is a great one. You can find out where the boondocking places are, and you'll find a bunch of people there. And then you got to be aggressive. And I don't mean negatively aggressive. I mean, you got to be willing to go out and say hi to people. We all have kind of, our first thought and as a boondocker is, you're out here because you want to be left alone. But maybe you don't want to be left alone. But out of respect, I will leave you alone. So you have to communicate. I'd like to meet people. Not necessarily that I'm ready or I'm easy or come get me, but just I'd like to meet people. What we did at the RTR one year, and I think we're going to continue, is we handed out, we bought surveyor's ribbons. You know what surveyor's ribbons is. It's they go out and they wrap purple, pink, yellow, green ribbons to mark things, mark trails, trees and spots and all of that stuff. We put up we handed out red and green, or pink and green, because some of them were kind of pinkish. But it was red and go. Green is go, red is stop. And so if you had a red ribbon or pink ribbon, that meant you weren't interested. I'm busy. I want to be left alone. And if you had a green ribbon, and you could just put it on your door handle, you could put it, if you had most of us have not always anymore, but a lot of us still have antennas, radio antennas. So if you had it up on your door antenna or around your mirror or just somewhere, you had a green ribbon, you just said, I'm friendly, come visit. And so I would say, let's try that as a community. You can get it anywhere. Home Depot sells it. Just ask somebody, I need surveyor's ribbon. Ace Hardware sells it, and Ace has it cheaper. You can get it from Amazon. Just go buy a roll of pink and green, and some days you're not going to want company. Put out pink, put out red, and say, I don't want company. But some days, man, you'd be glad to meet. You'd be glad if someone came and knocked on your door and said, hi, my name's Bob. I just parked over here. Am I too close? I don't want to be too close. And you say, no, you're fine right there. And you get to visit. You say, where'd you just come from? Oh, I was just up at Lake Havasu. Oh, I love Lake Havasu. Where'd you camp up there? And then you have a conversation going, and now you've got a friend. And it's just that simple. But we're afraid that we're out here because we want to be left alone, and so we don't bother each other. And sometimes you just have to take a risk. Go take the risk. Knock on the door. Be respectful. When I approach any camp, I say, hey, anybody home? I stop about 15, 20 feet. I just don't walk up and stick my head in the door. Don't ever do that. That's bad manners. They might be in there pooping. They might be in there changing clothes to take a nap. They might just be waking up. It could be anything going on in there. They might be having sex with their boyfriend or girlfriend. Don't just go up and stick your head in the mirror, in the door, or look through the, don't ever do anything like that. Stop 10, 15 feet. Be respectful, be kind, be considerate. Treat other people the way you want to treat and say, hey, anybody home? I'm Bob. I'm just camped up the road. Wanted to say hi. That's all. You do that, and you'll find out right away if they want to be left alone. If they come out and they look at you like deer with caught in a headlight, then you know this person wants to be left alone and I'm intruding. And you say, hey, I'm sorry, I don't want to bother you. Just came to say hi. If you need any help, just let me know. And I'm camped up there. Talk to you later. That's it. You minimal bother. You showed respect. You tried. And so it's really incumbent on you to, in a boondocking situation, to respectfully make connections. Because otherwise, and I've seen this happen. And this is when we're in Ehrenberg. I used to camp a lot at Ehrenberg, and I don't anymore. No one would ever come out of the rig and go meet each other. And I knew we wanted to. I just knew everyone wanted to. So I would announce a pizza party. You can buy a $5 pizza at Ehrenberg. You're right outside of Blythe, and there's a Little Caesars in there, and you can buy a $5 pizza, and that'll feed 2 or 3 people. So I'd buy 10 pizzas, and 30 people would come out, and we'd all have a pizza party. Or what we did for a while was arrange a morning coffee, and we all met outside. One of our dear friends had a big Class C, and if the wind was blowing or sun was hot, we'd sit in the shade and the side of the van and get out of the wind or get out of the sun. And somebody'd bring a cheap bag of cookies, and somebody else would bring a cheap box of donuts, and someone would make coffee. They just bring over a pot of coffee or 2 or 3 extra cups to share. And so you create a community. It's up to us, and most times, to create the community. I'm trying to create community, and that's the goal of the Caravans. But sometimes it's just up to you to look around and being surrounded by people and never say a word to them. It's up to you to go to say a word. Be careful, be respectful, be kind, but do it. Okay. So that's my answer to you, Merritt. Just to go find in the winter, in the desert, you'll find groups of nomads together. Just go up, be polite, be respectful, go meet each other. Don't hide. Okay, card number 3. Oh man, look at that, we're out of time. Do you find that most people out in van life are really enjoying being single and don't want to date? I do think so. Dating's hard. Boy, this is going to be another long answer. I'm sorry, I'm just not getting through many of your questions. I got to drink something. The hard thing about dating as a van dweller is this: you love your freedom. I love being able to go where I want to go, when I want to go. And if you date, and if you merge 2 camps into one, you can't go where you want to go, when you want to go, why you want to go. You have to ask. And I personally find having to ask a hardship. And so there's more selfishness in me, and I've devoted my life to rooting out self-absorption in myself. But every time I get in a dating relationship, I find it, and I find lots of it. I don't want to have to ask. If it's my fancy to go up to Wyoming and see some of Wyoming, I want to go to Wyoming, but I can't. I have to ask you. And if it's your fancy to go to San Diego and see the zoo, the marine zoo, and I hate going to cities and marine zoos. I think they're evil. We got a problem, don't we? And we have to merge our lives, and we have to give up our freedom. And so it's pretty hard for nomads to give up their freedom. That's really the bottom line, is you got to give up half your freedom half the time. And a lot of us just aren't willing to. So I think there are a lot of nomads who would like to find their soulmate, who you don't have to make any choices because you always want the same thing, but that doesn't really exist. And Yeah, I think the majority are single because they really want to be single. They would rather merge lives, but they're not willing to make the sacrifice that merging lives entails. And let's face it, in our society, merging lives for the most part means the woman gives up her prerogative for the man. And I would resent that if I were a woman. And I resent that in myself because I do want that. I resent that in myself that I want that. It's wrong for me to want that, but I do. And so it creates this conundrum of selfishness that I hate the selfishness I find in myself and fight against it. And yet it just pours out of me in a relationship. So for me, I'm in the sun. My beard glows in the dark here. I hate the selfishness I find in relationships. And so I would almost rather be alone than to be confronted with my own selfishness. It's a hard one. It's a really hard one. I don't have good answers. Okay. Bob, do you have a hard time dating women that are not in the lifestyle? That is Susie in. Oh no, that was Mark Lane. I don't date if you're not a nomad. You're not have no interests. There's nothing in being a living in a home that interests me. If you don't live in a van, haven't lived in a van for a while, if you don't love living in a van, we don't have enough connections to even start. Just an automatic disqualifications. If you're not a nomad, you're not in the running. Susie N asks, will you have a nomad singles get together? At the RTR, yeah, I'm sure they'll happen. But again, you folks have to make them happen. No, I'm not planning myself. I think of the Caravans as my effort to put singles together. You go to the Caravans and you'll find a whole lot of other singles. Maybe you'll find someone you like, maybe you won't. But that's my effort to match singles together. And it's not a direct effort. That's not the purpose of the Caravans. The Caravans is so you don't have to be alone. You can have friends. You can build community. But part of building friends and having community is finding a mate. And so I consider that to be a big part of why we have the Caravans. What can you do if you're very introverted and shy? You just got to push yourself out of it. There's nothing else I can do. I just had a long discussion about if you go into a group and there's a whole bunch, you go camp at Ehrenberg and there's a dozen people around you can see, all a pretty good distance away. You're going to have to go and knock on a door. And I just told you how. Go watch this again. I'm not going to tell you again. Be respectful, be kind, but you're going to have to knock on the door and introduce yourself and say hi. And if you're going to wait for someone else to do that, then it'll never happen, and you'll be alone. And so you're going to have to just screw up your courage and go do it. That's all there is to it. Just find that wealth of courage, overcome your introversion and your shyness. We have so much in common. Build on the commonality we have on. Go talk about where to go to camp. You know, you go. Where have you camped? I'm looking for new campsites. Where have you been that I might want to go? Go find a common cause, common interest, and talk about it. You just have to go do it. That's all. And I know that's hard advice. That's all I've got. Should you sell your rig if you fall in love, or what can you do with it? I'd put it in storage until you're absolutely certain. You can usually, unless it's a really big RV, you can put it in storage for 40, no more than 50 bucks, I would think. In the small towns we go to, Quartzsite, Flagstaff, Prescott, little towns around them, I think you can find storage for an RV for no more than 50 bucks. Spend the 500 bucks for a year, and 550, usually you get a free month if you pay for a year. And then once you've proven your track record, then sell, not before. Jessica Nelson, I'm going to take a brief drink. I'm talking too much. I'm out of time. I'm going over. Jessica Nelson speaks very wise words. Dating is hard enough. Dating as a nomad is even harder. It sure is. You really have to find someone on the same page as you. Yes, you do. And there aren't many of them out there. Why do you think it is so much harder as a nomad? What can you do to make it easier for yourself? Again, it all comes down to freedom. You're coming out here because you want freedom. And merging your life with another person limits your freedom. How much freedom are you willing to give up? Again, you want to go to San Diego? I want to go to Wyoming or Montana. Opposite directions. You want to go to an RV, you want to spend your time in RV parks. I hate RV parks. You can afford to pay. I can't afford to pay. You can afford to go and eat out a lot, and I can't afford to go out and eat a lot. You have to merge and give up your freedom. You have to swallow your selfishness and merge your lives and form one new life that isn't exactly what either of you want. That's kind of the essence of marriage, isn't it? Except in America, it's been understood that the woman would sacrifice herself to give the man what he wanted. Now, good men would yield all they could, but it was still an understanding the last 200 years, 300 years. Women couldn't even vote 100 years ago. 100 years ago, a woman couldn't vote in this country. There was an understanding that women sacrifice. There are a lot of countries, states, where a woman couldn't enter into a contract. They weren't qualified. They weren't smart enough, adult enough. Why do we open the doors? Why do we hold the doors open for women? Because the assumption is they're too childlike to open the door themselves, and we got to help them. In the old days, there used to be big, heavy doors, and they kind of couldn't open them. There was some validity to that. This society, to a degree, much less degree, thank God, still expects the woman to be the one who yields. And most women, especially older women who have lived their lives in service and servitude and sacrifice, are not ready. They're done. They're not ready to sacrifice anymore. And for the man to ask them to, I believe, is wrong. And so for me, that kind of holds me back. My work demands my schedule, and so I have to demand of you to conform to my schedule. And that just feels wrong, and I'm not able to do that. And so I reconcile myself to being alone, because I don't want to have to confront my selfishness, and I don't want to give up my freedom any more than I already have. I've given up most of my freedom for the tribe, but I don't want to give up what little freedom I have left. So that's why it's so much harder. You're not willing to give up your freedom, and being in a relationship requires it. Another camper van channel. Is Bob available for a date? Yeah. If after all I've said you're still interested in a date, yes, I'm open for a date. Okay, are there any more, Casey, or should we call it done? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Should we call it done? It's already 10 after. Okay, should I keep answering questions? How many people are online?
1,727.
There are 1,720 people out there? Okay, if you're out there and you can endure more of my babbling away, I'm willing to go on. Lifelong Travels asks, Bob, where would your girlfriend live if you had one? She'd live in a van, and she'd live in a van wherever she wanted to live, because that's the only woman I'd be interested in. Man, how about the wind? The wind's really blowing hard now. KC? I think I'm... the wind was really blowing. Can you hear it? Oh, this lab really works well. I hate selfishness in myself, and yet I keep finding it. And if I were going to have a girlfriend, she'd have to go where I wanted to go, and it is so wrong for me to treat someone that way. It's a conundrum. It's a conundrum. I have no answers. Corrine Loader, what do you do if someone won't go away? Boy, that's a hard one. You might have to start a discussion about a restraining order. I mean, if that's where you're at, if you've communicated that you don't want them in your life and they will not go away, then it might be time to start talking about a restraining order. It would be time to sneak away in the middle of the night. You're talking about someone who might be dangerous. And I would start treating them like they're dangerous. I would find friends, if at all possible, to camp with and to be with and to leave that person with. If they won't go away and you've made it very clear you want them to go away, you're in danger. And treat it like you're in danger. There's a sheriff somewhere near you that you can go talk to and explain to this person, I'm going to talk to the sheriff. And hopefully something good will come of that. I don't know. But yeah, don't ignore it. Don't just hope the problem goes away. Take steps. Find a friend, bring them into your life, try to sneak away. I don't think there's any shame in sneaking away. If this person is behaving that badly, you need to get away, and you need to get away safely so that they don't find you. I wish you well. You might even be looking at going into a shelter. Try to sneak away, maybe even go into shelter. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. There are bad people out there. There are crazy people out there. And so taking care of yourself is a top priority. And women are told to please. Women are trained from babyhood in this country to please. And so there's a part of you that doesn't want, I'm assuming you're a woman, does it say? What would you do? Corrine. So I think you're probably a woman. In every woman trained in you, especially if you're older, the training was worse, that a woman's job is to please. And so, and to obey. And so somewhere that evil, and that is evil, lives in your heart. It lives in the heart of nearly every woman. Digging it all out is nearly impossible. Every woman has an infection of misogyny that this country has placed in her. And it's a lifetime, just like I know how selfish I am, and I've devoted my whole lifetime to finding that selfishness and ignore it and digging it out. I'm not having much success. I'm having a little. Well, you got to work hard at this thing. I need to please the man. You don't have to please this guy. You don't owe him anything. Again, I'm just assuming it's a guy. Maybe it's a girl. You don't owe her anything. You don't owe anyone anything. Your obligation is to yourself. And if this person is dangerous and not taking no for an answer, do whatever is required to get away and be safe. That's my advice. Lalo Traveler, would you ever have a singles caravan? Yeah, actually, that's a very good idea. Yeah, I would very much like to have a singles caravan. No, let's even plan on that. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Thank you. It's a good idea. Oh, I think we have talked about it. Sue Ann's my partner and everything and all our decision making. And there's a board. We have a board of directors of Homes on Wheels Alliance. The caravans are now, I think they're now officially under Homes on Wheels Alliance and not Cheap RV Living. It's a decision for the Homes on Wheels Alliance, and Sue Ann is executive director and myself as president. We'll have to go to the board and have a discussion about the caravans and the direction. But yeah, I think a singles caravan is probably a really good idea. I'm gonna take a drink. Just Me asks, it would be fun to have a dating game at the RTR. Get to ask separate panels 3 questions a person and decide by answer if each is a possibility. Plus, it would be fun. Okay, I got to tell you, I don't understand that. We'd have separate panels, 3 questions a person. So we'd have 5 people on a panel, and we'd ask each the dating game. Is this a dating game? Oh, that's just exactly what you said, a dating game. So you mean like the old game show, The Dating Game. Oh, okay. Also, we would have 3, like the dating game literally was 3 guys or gals, I think it was gals, wasn't it? 2, on one side, and the opposite sex, or same sex, we could do same sex, on the other, and they each asked 3 questions and chose a date. Oh, okay. That'd be fun. That's something to think about. Again, We don't have time. Putting on the RTR takes all of our time and energy. It takes all of our time and energy for starting in December. Starting now. We work on it year around, but starting in December, we work on it nearly full time. We work on it nonstop, a lot. And we're not going to do that. You have to do that. You want something to happen at the RTR, you do it, you write us and tell us, I would like to do this. What do you think? And we will either give you a blessing and say, yes, go do it. And we'll give you a space and a time and we'll make announcements. Or we'll say, we don't think we can get behind that. And to be honest with you, I don't know if we'd get behind the dating game or not. I like the idea. It'd be fun. And the whole idea is to have fun, isn't it? And maybe how would we decide on contestants and who got to date? Out of 9,000 people, there wouldn't be very many people happy about that. But it'll still be fun. You write us and tell us how you want to do it, and we'll talk to you about it. And we'll make a decision then. I'm not breaking any promises. It would be fun. Okay, we the animals. Can we use your forum for dating and finding friends? Yes, the forum actually has a sub-forum on dating. It doesn't get used much, and I'm not sure it's been very successful. But yes, on the forum, which is cheaprvliving.com/forums, plural, there is a dating sub page. Now, the way that page works is you don't write back and forth on it. It is for you. You place your ad for yourself, and people private message you, PM you. So when you place your ad, your PM goes with it. And if you're a man, and then you wait for the women to PM you, and if you are a woman, you tell enough about yourself and what you want, what you don't want, and then people, men or women, whatever you're after, male or female, whichever way you go, and they will PM you. So it's not a dating back and forth site. It's only for you to place the ad and wait and see if anyone's interested. And yes, that's already there in the forums, and you're welcome to use it. Kathy Clifton said, regarding love, this is a very good quote. Arthur Kurt Vonnegut said, a little less love, please, and a little more common decency. I'm a big fan of that. I don't use the word love. I literally try to avoid using the word love. It's overused. I've overused it. I've told a million different people that I love them when I didn't. I didn't know what it meant. I don't know what it means, romantic love, in the sense that we have this huge built-up thing in our mind about what loving another person really is. I have no idea what that means. Love's a verb. It's an action you take. I will promise to you to take actions. I won't promise you any grand supernatural emotions. No promises about that ever. I'm not sure I'm capable of them. A little less love, please. A little more common decency. A little more kindness. We can all use, and I've also seen how love turns into hate like that. Oh, like that. Love turns into hate. People have written me these amazing letters, and then I said just how great I was. Oh, you're so great, Bob. On and on and on and on. And then I say something they don't like, and they hate me. Love turns into hate really, really easily. That's not love, obviously. Richard Biggs says, love is sharing a poop bucket. Thumbs up, Richard. Love is sharing a poop bucket. Yeah. With one of my girlfriends, I went to Alaska with her, and in her van, we to save money, we only took one van. Boy, it was a hardship. It was a hardship. Yeah, 2 people in a van's a hard way to go. Not something I think I'm probably willing to do. Okay, Troy asks, if we were to meet in person, would a hug be appropriate? Yes, I have learned to hug. It's selfish not to hug, and so I hug. Okay, Casey, are we done?
Yes,
Okay, she didn't send me any more questions because she says, we're done. And we are done. Okay, I'm sorry. This would have been a lot better with a panel. I apologize. Crystal, I apologize because I saw your thread, and that was really a good idea. And when I say we, I mean KC. KC is working hard on putting together the ability it's actually a webinar. We go through Zoom and they put on webinars, and a webinar can be hosted to live to YouTube. So we're probably going to host panels as webinars. So maybe we'll invite 4 other people, 3 or 4 other people, and we'll have a webinar, and they'll be across the country, and we'll go live on YouTube, each of us with our smartphone in front of us. And it will go into Zoom, and then Zoom will go into YouTube. But we have to figure all that out, and we haven't done it yet. And it'll be a chore to learn how to do all that, and so we will. Cody, will you jump up on my? Can I hold you up here? People haven't seen you. He doesn't. He gets mad when I try to. Oh, and he lays down. Okay, I'll take the camera off the tripod and show you Cody. Come on. Okay, there he is. Let me show you Cody. Oh, wrong hand. I can't grab it with that hand. Where are you, Code? Are you there? No, I can't see it. Are you there? There he is. There's Code. There's my guy. He needs love too, you know. The one thing I know absolutely how to do is love my dog. That's the one thing in my life I'm pretty darn good at. I think I'm a master at loving my dog. He thinks so too, because he hangs around. He seems to love me. He seems to love me a lot. I know I love him a lot. Come on. What's going on here? All right, well, that's the best I can do. I'll quit. I'm sorry, folks. I'll quit. Look at all that wind. It's really blowing here. Yeah, okay. I can't go without bubbles. Bubbles. Cody just ran off. Okay, I'll go ahead and quit. That's plenty good enough, isn't it? I did my best. That's all I can tell you is I did my best. And I don't know anything about love or dating. I've done it badly. Been married twice, both failures. I was the failure. Never had a successful relationship. I'm the failure, and it's really, if I really dig down deeply and honestly, it's selfishness, and I really hate that about myself, but it's true. All right, so I'm going to say goodbye, folks. KC, do you remember what we're talking about next week?
Next week is cooking.
Cooking. Yeah, I've done a lot of cooking. I'm not a great cook. August 21st is cooking. You know what I even thought about doing is a live feed from the Tiny Fest. We might do that. Do you think we could do that, KC? Do a live feed from the Tiny Fest? Yeah, I think we can do it pretty easily. Oh, we'd have to be further away from, depends on the internet. I have to be fairly close to the van to be able to connect to Verizon. Yeah, we think we can do it. I might do a live feed, walk around the Tiny Fest in Salem. That would be a really good idea. Maybe we'll try that. Let me get rid of the bubbles. They go away. Okay. All right, folks. Thanks so much for listening. Bye-bye, KC and Solar Mike, wherever you are. What is a Tiny Fest? A Tiny Fest is in Salem, Oregon, at the fairground. There a bunch of people with tiny houses are coming, and they're celebrating tiny houses, and they're having seminars. And I'm speaking at a seminar on why we live tiny. But there'll be seminars on the legal ramifications of living tiny. There will be seminars on traveling in a tiny house, just codes, working within the codes with a tiny house, all kinds of things everything about tiny house living that you're interested in. There will be a seminar and a million tiny houses there. And so it'll be a really good thing. That's the Tiny Fest. And I'll be there next 2 Saturdays. No, the next Saturday. Is that right? The 28th, whenever the 28th is. It must be 2 Saturdays. Okay, I'm done. Bye, folks.